welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matthew, and this is the GWM Canon Alpha Ultra HEV.
That's right, Chinese brand GWM have come out guns a-blazing to attack the large ute market. Come, let's take a look at this. For those of you who don't know, GWM stands for Great Wall Motors, or actually what they're now going is go with more. So they're sort of changing their branding and working that way. But it's very much, they are coming into New Zealand and really looking to make themselves sort of Kiwified and really embrace this obviously ever popular ute market that we have here. This is their Canon Alpha Ultra. It is a big vehicle. I'll get to the dimensions in a minute, but there's two versions that they've got. They've got the hybrid or HEV, which is, this is the first hybrid HEV to hit New Zealand, and also a plug-in hybrid, which I hopefully will get in the later stage, which will obviously be more efficient. But as far as it stands, look at it, it's magnificent, a big vehicle, and it sort of sits somewhere between the sort of size of the Ranger, and also then you're moving into the big super ones like the Rams and things like that. So it sits in that sort of clear space between the two, but really it is a sizable vehicle. Looking around the front here, so much chrome, big chrome grille that's just massive here, and this is the logo. It looks like a, I don't know, a Q or a sort of 9 or something, but it's actually a P, and it stands for Power, Off-Road, Enjoyable and Reliability. So that's what they're sort of trading overseas as power, but over here, Canon, which is obviously powerful as well. On the side here, we have these squarish headlights, the LEDs and your DRLs, so plenty of visibility coming out here, but very abrupt front and not too much of an overhang, so it will be rugged and off-road, but also it is also refined, but more on that in a while. Now let's get to the dimensions. In length, it's 5.44 meters, which is, like I said, around about 75 millimeters longer than your average Ranger. There's nothing average about a Ranger, of course. And in terms of width, about 2 meters and about 2 meters tall. So basketball players will actually be able to look over the top. I obviously can't. It rides on 18-inch wheels, and this has got a Gitti X Cross or XE Cross tires. So I don't know, these sort of off-roady and on-roady capabilities. And in terms of wading depth, you've got ground clearance, you've got 224 millimeters. So in this big puddle I've got, it can go through that reasonably well. The other thing is, look, big side steps to get in and out of, which I obviously need, or I'd probably need a ladder. And also, as you come around the back here, on this C-pillar, you've got this little slotty thing that opens up and you can put things in. It's really interesting. I haven't seen that before on anything. Very cool. Now, the good thing about this truck, or one of its tricks, is its tailgate. And I'm not usually somebody to get excited about a tailgate, but this is quite interesting. So if you put your finger up this hole here, push once, it's got a 60-40 split. So you can open up to get to the loading compartment here, which is just really funky. I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I've got a very limited, I don't get out very much. And once you do open up, you've got a 1500 by 1500 square that will actually accommodate around about 738 kilograms. So it is quite light as far as the other 1-tonners that can usually take up about a 1-tonner payload. The other thing is, once you close up, you can give it 2 little pokes. The tailgate comes down like that. Who would have thought you could open 2 ways? It's I don't know, like little things, right? The rest of the back here, you've got the HEV sign, the 4x4 sign, because it is all-wheel drive, and nice big step here to jump on and put the stuff inside. Anyway, let's see what powers this. Like I said before, under the bonnet here is a full hybrid system. So you've got a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine, electrical motor, and all mated with a 9-speed gearbox. And what that gives you is 255 kilowatts of power and 685 newton meters of torque. So it's actually plenty to move this 2.6 ton vehicle and actually be able to tow 3.5 tons. So quite a lot going on there. It's also got a fuel efficiency, or a proposed fuel efficiency, of around about 9.8 litres per 100 kilometres. As to whether it does that, I would say probably not. With even if you're nursing it, there's quite a lot going on. Anyway, speaking of underachievers, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on with that.
Now, unlike me, there is no underperforming with the interior of this Canon Alpha Ultra HEV, apart from the name maybe, because it is so highly spec'd. But certainly, even though some of the materials may not actually feel premium, they certainly look premium. So you've got to give it to GWM. They have made a huge impact there on the level of luxury that you feel when you're inside this truck. Now, let's start off with the dashboard. So you've got this soft material at the top over there. You've got a little bit of gloss black plastic in between. And then you've got this fake wood trim going all along. Now, this is genuinely as fake as they come. There's not even a single sort of groove or notch in it. It's all just one panel, but it does elevate the look of this interior, and it certainly gives a good distinction between all of the black plastics and materials used otherwise. Continuing with the chrome and the sort of polished theme of the outside, you do get this panel that goes across there. And then looking down the middle, you have actually got a physical clock over there with GWM branding in it, it's a nice touch, I've got to admit. And then below that, you've got some more sort of polished and shiny surfaces as well, because they do like a bit of bling, as you can probably tell. There's a wireless phone charger down the middle here, and this big rocker for your gear selector. And along with that, you've got your major control buttons in the middle here. So your seat heating and ventilation for both driver and passenger. And speaking of which, both the occupants in the rear on either side also get heated and ventilated seats as well. So quite impressive from that standpoint. Interestingly, the heated seats for the front driver and passenger actually have 9 different levels of heating. So Harry can go crazy in the winters. You've also got your off-road selection buttons in the middle here as well. So your drive mode knob, and then your diff locks and your 4 low-range gearbox as well. So it is off-road capable, as well as being this sort of big luxury pickup truck as well. The luxury features keep going because you've got this nice soft, almost suede like headliner. You've got a dual sunroof overhead. You've got these leather look seats, which are quite comfortable to sit in. And then practicalities as well. You've got generous door bins, which are felt lined as well, to stop your keys and things from jingling about. You've got a sizable under armrest storage here with a cubby that can be removed. You've got 2 cup holders, and you can open the vent in there so that your air conditioning also comes in here and keeps your pies chilled or your coffees warm. Aside from that, this interior is a pretty nice place to be. But again, you never forget that you're in one of these GWM off-road vehicles, because the key is shaped like a P as well. So it might be inconvenient to carry, but at least you know what you're driving. This being as large a truck as it is, you couldn't have a infinitely tiny infotainment screen. It had to be as chunky and as sort of significant as this truck is, and GWM have certainly stepped up to the plate where that is concerned. Now, this is the home view of the infotainment screen, and you've got shortcuts to all of your essentials. So it keeps on revolving around and giving you tips with how to interact with the system using the voice command, but do bear in mind that it is quite intrusive, and it just sort of seems to pick up on random words and things. Although you can set specific words to trigger the system, it just seems to do its own thing. Aside from that, you've also got the total range. So this being a hybrid as well, you've got the battery indicator in the middle over there, plus the engine connectivity option. So it has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as well as Bluetooth, as you can see on there. And then you've also got your radio, navigation, and then audio output as well would be on there. Now, if we move over to the right-hand side, you can see that there are shortcuts down there. So I'll walk through those gradually. At the top, you've got the app drawer. As you can see there, I mentioned the connectivity options over there. being a hybrid, you've got the power indicator there, so you can have a look at that. And 589 kilometers left on nearly a full tank, so it can go quite far from that perspective. Head back here, and there is just so much to do with this car in terms of its settings. So if I go into the in-vehicle, you can see the memory seats over here. You've got 3 different functions. You've got the capability to turn on the massage, of which there are 8 different options. Front passenger seat, you can operate the various settings from here as well. And you can turn on the seat heating for the 2 rear seats as well through this screen over here. Heads-up display, again, so much of functionality going on over there, and so on and so forth. Similarly, with the exterior of the vehicle, there is so much to go through, and you can really customize this car down to a T. It's got ambient lighting as well. Once again, you can customize this however you like, and just look at the amount of functions it's got from a safety perspective. It does have driver monitoring, it does have an assist for your steering, and it does have automatic park assist. It's got a really good 360-degree surround view as well. And then these are your main safety functions. So you've got this is for all the forward assist settings, but you can see that it's broken down into each different category there as well. So really comprehensive from that aspect. And just take a look at that. It's got a Canon Alpha on the screen over there, and you can even see the little break in that split tailgate. So there's some quite significant attention to detail that has gone into just creating that graphic over there. From there, when you go back to the right, you can press that and go into the settings menu for even more customization of your vehicle in terms of the connectivity options. You've got the display as well, which has got this sort of matte look to it. So it hasn't seemed to have attracted as many fingerprints as one would have thought with a screen of this size. You can also personalize, as I mentioned, the voice command system, so you can select words that wake the system up or react to your commands. And then the display has 2 different options, and the steering wheel, which has a custom button, and you can set the shortcut up over there according to your preference. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the gauge cluster. Now, in front of the driver, you have the digital gauge cluster. As I pointed out on the infotainment screen, you can have this set up in 2 different views. And just take a look at this. So we've got energy output right now on the right-hand side and speed on the left. And you can actually customize this menu on the right-hand side almost infinitely. That bar just keeps going and going and going. As you can see there, we've been averaging 11.3 liters per 100 Ks, but we have had a full car, and Dave has also been at the wheel, both of which don't equate to good fuel economy, let's say. Taking a step back, and you have this steering wheel, which is surprisingly un-ute-like. So yes, while it is chunky in that 3rd spoke and these 2 spokes in the middle, the steering wheel itself is actually quite narrow. It's small almost in a way. Aside from that, you have your buttons here on either side, more gloss black piano plastic, of course. Down the bottom, you have your 2 different shortcut buttons, which you can set up through that infotainment screen. And above that, you have the buttons to control the volume and phone connectivity options on the left-hand side, and your screen display options on the right-hand side. It's also got paddle shifts as well, because why not? And then notice that the steering wheel itself is made to look like that GWM power symbol logo thing, which is what's in the middle here. As you've just seen, there's plenty of luxuries up front here, but they've reserved a few for the back seat as well. So let's take a quick look at that. Now, it's pretty spacious at the rear as well. Even though this seat is actually pushed as far back as it can go, I've still got a good bit of knee room there, decent amount of foot room, and a fair bit of headroom as well, despite that double sunroof there. As I mentioned, creature comforts, you've got heated seats and ventilated seats for both of the passengers back here. The central armrest folds down, and you've got a wireless phone charger in there, as well as some USB ports for charging up your devices. You've also got that button in the middle, which opens up the rear glass hatch in the window. But I haven't even touched on the fact that this truck has actually got electronic reclining seats for the rear passengers. So you can sort of flick that button and put your feet up. Anyway, enough with all the luxuries and all of that. They have put some work into making this hybrid powertrain drive efficiently and powerfully. So I think it's time we get behind the wheel, head away for a drive.
So the Canon Alpha Ultra. So when it starts up, it goes into just sort of battery or EV mode, which is quite cool. So when you jump in, when you pull away, if you pull away nice, slow enough, you actually just have a nice, slow, quiet EV drive, which is quite disconcerting for a truck this size. And as you can hear now, the engine kicks in quite quickly. So it does hover among that, certainly down low in speeds between that petrol and hybridness. So quite good.
And when you are just maneuvering this thing around a car park, for example, or in the driveway or whatever, it just stays in EV mode, crawling along nice and gently. But once you start to put a bit of power on that pedal, it kicks into waking up that petrol turbo.
Although, in fairness, it does navigate around. Its turning circle is pretty good. Actually, it's better than your Volvo, even though the size of it is quite immense, and it is quite immense. Four-wheel drive system is good. It goes around off-road pretty well. We've just done a little bit of driving on grass, and in fairness, on slippery grass with roadish going tyres, there wasn't a slip at all. So it actually did very well for that. So, top tip for there is pretty good. But it's more its on-road manners. It's very comfortable on road, and I think that's down to the shocks and also
the insulation as well of the cabin. I think it's not only is the suspension setup good and comfortable for road journeys, and we've been on motorways, on slower roads, speed humps, the whole lot, and it has been quite good through it all. The things like the thickness of the windows, the materials used inside here also make it a comfortable place to be in from a perspective of absorbing all of these sounds and noises and all of that. And it actually makes for a really quiet ride, apart from every now and then when the engine wakes up and comes to life.
There is a little bit of wind noise from these big mirrors, but this is not exactly the most aerodynamic of vehicles. But I don't know, it does bridge that luxury utility thing pretty well. And as I said in the outset, it is in that clear space between your sort of regular 1-tonners and also the big beasties, the 4.5 ton towers. So it sits really nicely into that almost carving out its own area, really.
And despite its no-nonsense look about it and its towing capabilities and all of that stuff, it does have quite a sense of humor about it as well, especially that GWM assistant in the infotainment screen, because earlier on she recommended that Dave look for the nearest gym, for example. So
I don't know where it got that from. There aren't any weight measures in this seat, is there? On that, the voice assistant does cut in quite a lot, and just for no apparent reason. If you're wearing sunglasses, the sort of driverist attention thing does cut in. It doesn't quite work that out, and like I said, every now and again it will just pipe up a conversation about nothing, and you have to work out who's talking and who's got to switch it off. So you can actually switch the voice assistant off, but it then resets, I think, each time, or maybe you do have to switch it off, but it does interfere with your conversation.
However, it does do some pretty interesting things as well. Like, for example, you can have it wind the windows up and down, both front and rear, just by asking it to do so. You can ask it, for example, to do things like open up the sunroof blinds, to turn up the volume, the air conditioning. It does a lot of stuff, and it has a character to it, as I mentioned before, because when Dave asked it, for example, to open the sunroof and then insulted it, it promptly shut the blind. So it goes, take that.
Yeah, I think I've really got on the wrong side of the voice assistant, which is not unusual. If I forget its birthday, it'll be like my wife and won't talk to me for about 6 months, which will be great. As far as, I mean, obviously being a hybrid, it's all should be more about fuel efficiency. And although, as I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to have a 9.8 litres per 100 kilometres. We've been doing around about 11. Actually, we're up to 12.5 now. So it's probably not as efficient as it could be. And I think that's one of the head scratchers about this vehicle. The payload's not as much as it could be for well, actually you get a bigger payload out of a one tonner. It is quite heavy at 2.6 tons in weight, and it tows 3.5 tons, which is again less than the big ones. So although it sits in that sort of, I guess, own space, it kind of fulfills stuff but kind of doesn't in its usability. It is a bit of a head scratcher for me on that.
At the same time, though, a price of 60 grand is not at all a head scratcher. It's amazing value for that sort of money.
It is great value, you're right. Maybe the plug-in hybrid could be a better option, but then I guess that will come with a plug-in hybrid price. Who knows? So there you have it, the GWM Canon Alpha Hybrid, or HEV. What's the last bit?
You forgot Ultra.
Ultra, there you go. So actually quite a lot to fill into, but it is such a big vehicle, so it probably needs a big name, to be honest. It does fit into that sweet spot between, or I guess odd spot between the one-tonners and the big ones. And I say those, I repeat, I think it is a bit of a head scratcher for there, but so much value, so much tech, so much crammed into well, actually not even crammed. It's so much stuff going in one big ute. Actually, probably even call it a pickup because it's so big.
It is amazing because it is not only a big pickup, but also its name seems to go on forever. But then so does the list of kind of accessories and specifications. It just seems to have everything in here, and it's quite comfortable both on and off-road too.
Yep, gotta love it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
You guys ever seen Thomas the Tank Engine?
No.
You haven't seen?
Yeah, of course I have, yeah.
So you know when they go, Thomas was surprised. The GWM Cannon was surprised. That's what this looks like.
Okay. You're all right. Yeah. Power, or we've put the GoPro on, but switch it off now.
Why? Because he's just going to start recording there, and then we'll clap, and then we can get started.
All right, grumpy. Someone needs more sleep.
This is the GWM Canon Alpha. It is the Canon Alpha.
Canon Alpha Ultra.
And Ultra, okay.
Yeah.
Do I have to say HEV as well?
Yes.
Because this is the head, right? Okay, all right. Shut up.
Cool. You can give it 2 little pokes, and speaking of underachievers, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on with that.
That
could go on TV.
My call for the Alpha thing.
Both.
All right, there we go. I'm Matthew, and this is a GWM tank. No, of course it won't go back in.
I told you break it, you own it. The push of one button here opens up So
Don't you have to clap first?
I'm not clapping. We don't need to clap. It's all. Oh yeah, we do.
To sync
don't we,
the
for these
GoPros
things?
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, mate.
1, 2, 3. I'm new to this. You can come back up.
I don't think I can.
Oh,
He's stuck in between the
Completely
seats.
crushed.
Actually, I can move this back. Revenge!
Thank you. Oh my god, I can breathe again.